Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Sergeant Kiesler. I'm one of the recruiters here in Morristown. Today, I'm here at Morristown Hamblen East High School. I'm going to talk to you a little bit this morning about what it's like being in the Army and how the Army can help you achieve some of your goals. All right, hopefully everybody can see this. So I have a presentation here. I'll be going through some slides while I'm talking to you. Hopefully everybody got into the YouTube channel okay. There's a chat feature. If anybody has any questions, feel free to use the chat. I have it up on the screen, so if you have to ask a question, I'll answer it. Again, don't hesitate to ask any questions you might have. A little bit about myself. I've been in the Army 20 years now. My job is IT, cybersecurity, hacking, counter hacking. I'm a computer nerd for the Army. I love what I do and been doing it a long time. Been all over the world doing what I do. The Army's been a part of my family for a really long time. My dad was a Desert Storm vet. His uncle was in, his dad was in, his dad was in. You can read my little bio there in the bottom left. I had a relative that lost a leg at the Battle of Gettysburg in the Civil War. My 7-time great-grandfather, Benjamin Thomas, served in the North Carolina Regiment in the Revolutionary War. So this is kind of what we've done for a long time. Proud history of service in my family. All right, before I really get into some of the benefits of the Army, I'm going to break down some fact or fiction, some things that I've heard throughout my 2 years of doing this here on recruiting. Some of the things that you might have heard as well. So, pardon me for being blunt, but the first thing we hear, and we hear a lot, is the Army treats their people like crap. Let me dispel that myth right now and let you know that the Army actually spends millions of dollars a year on quality of life programs for soldiers and their families. We are very much a family-first organization. We have gyms on base, swimming pools, movie theaters, shopping centers. We have a lot of things that the soldiers can do. It's all free for us to use. And again, the Army really is a family-first organization. Let's go to the next one. We hear this a lot. You're going to die if you deploy. Not to downplay the significance of actually deploying to a combat zone. This is a fear that a lot of parents have. When we break it down in statistics, we find that last year only about 20 people died in Afghanistan. Now, again, tragic loss of life. I'm not going to downplay that. But that 20 people was all branches combined. That wasn't just the Army. Now, if we take a look at how many people died in just the state of Tennessee on the highways alone last year, there were over 1,100 people that died. So you're like almost 100 times more likely to get in an accident driving to McDonald's than you are in Afghanistan. And some of the reasons for that are, one, out there you're driving, people drive like idiots. They don't pay attention, don't use turn signals, they'll cut you off, they're on their cell phones. The roads are pretty dangerous, whereas when we go into a combat zone, say Afghanistan, for instance, we don't go without the best gear, the best training. We're the most well-equipped Army on the planet, and we're not going to go into an area without intel that tells us exactly what we're looking for. Is our target in that area? Are there any holidays there? Are there festivals going on? Or are there civilians in the area? And if anything doesn't go right, we abort the mission. We try it again another day. We do a lot of risk assessment, risk analysis. So we actually do try to minimize casualties at all costs. I've heard that you can't go to college in the Army. Let me tell you firsthand that that's not true. Just me, for instance, I have an associate's degree in computer science. I have an associate's degree in network administration and cybersecurity, all while I've been on active duty. We have a benefit on active duty called tuition assistance. It pays us about $4,000 a year, and it resets every year. It's a never-ending pot of money. And with that, I've got 3 degrees so far. I'm about to start my master's classes in January. And so not only is college encouraged, in some ways it's kind of required, especially as you progress through the ranks. You want to be competitive for that next rank, and what's going to set you apart from your peers is maybe you have a degree and they don't. So We've heard that you don't get to pick your job in the Army, that you're going to be put in that somebody made this saying up, needs of the Army. And I'll tell you, that's not a thing. So actually, the Army is the only branch where you actually choose your job up front. I can show you on my screen, on my computer, every job vacancy that I have Army-wide, and you choose right there. Before you've made a commitment, before you signed a contract, you tell me which one of those jobs you want to do, based on what you qualify for, your ASVAB score, things like that. And if you don't see a job in the list that you like, don't pick one. It's that easy. Again, you've made no commitments. We'll keep looking. If you don't see a job you like, I'll look every day, every week, whatever I have to do. But I'm not going to put you in a job that you're not going to be perfectly happy with. I've heard that you don't make enough money. I work in IT and cybersecurity. A lot of people think that right out of high school, they're going to go work for Microsoft or Apple or Dell. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. The chances of you going to work at one of those big companies right out of high school are slim to none. I mean, there are those rare people that might get that opportunity, but they got to know, those big companies, that you're bringing something to their company that's going to make them better. So what are you going to do out of high school? What are you going to do to make money? So I put this up here. The soldier in their first year is going to make about $22,765. You can read the number there. Over $22,000 in your first year in the Army. The average income in Morristown last year was only $18,900. Now that's horrible. Average combined household, both parents working, about $33,500. And so a soldier in their very first year in the Army is going to make more money than the average person, average adult out here in Morristown. Now, of course, cost of living is different wherever you go. There are places where you might make more money. There are places you might make less money. But we actually do make a pretty good amount of money, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. All right, I've heard that you get paid more in another branch. So Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, we all fall under Department of Defense. Congress sets our pay. So an E1 in the Army makes the same thing as an E1 in the Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. And the Coast Guard. Coast Guard falls under Department of Homeland Security, but Congress does set our pay every year. So there's not a branch that gets paid more and paid more. You can be infantry or you can be a surgical tech. You're going to get paid the same thing. We get paid based on our pay grade, and we're promoted based off of merit. So just to dispel that one. Talking about some of the career fields that we have available to us. Just about anything you can imagine, we probably have a job for it. We have over 150 different jobs available in the Army. Administrative support jobs, that's our clerical type jobs. Human resources, finance. Intelligence and combat support, that's our intel jobs. They're going out and they're finding out information about the bad guys. They're using online research. They're using really cool tools, specialized computer systems. Our intel guys are the ones that found out that ISIS was using the PlayStation network to send encrypted messages, and they were able to break that code and stop that. They are really good at what they do. Arts and media, we have journalists, broadcasters, graphic artists, translators. We have a band, so if you're in the band and you want to do that as a profession, you can come to the Army and play whatever instruments you play for the United States Army as a job. Arts and media field, they do all of our brochures, our commercials, our billboards, advertisements. They do all of that stuff for us. It's a pretty cool field to be in. Legal and law enforcement, that's our military police, our K-9 dog handlers, our detainment personnel, criminal investigations, stuff like that. The combat field's actually our smallest field. Out of 150 jobs, only about 7 are direct combat in nature. That's things like infantry, Cav Scout, tankers, artillery. Their job is to go get the bad guy. So if you want to go jump out of a plane and shoot a dude in the face, I got you. But a lot of people, that's not their cup of tea. So I want to tell you that, I'm a computer guy. My job's not to go kick in doors. So don't think that just because you join the Army, you're going to get sent on a patrol somewhere and you're going to have to go engage the enemy. Everybody has a job to do and a part to play. And so that's kind of how we stay successful. Mechanics, that's another career field. That's probably our biggest career field, honestly, because if we have something in our inventory, we have somebody that can fix it. We have truck mechanics. We have all kinds of trucks, several different types of specialized trucks like the Stryker or the Bradley fighting vehicle. The Abrams tank has a dedicated tank mechanic just for that vehicle. We have heating and air conditioning repair, generator repair, watercraft. We actually have more boats than the Navy, so the people that work on the boats, the mechanics for that. Even a new one we have right now is drone mechanic. We have some drones that are so small they can fit in the palm of your hand. We have drones that are so large they probably wouldn't fit in your classroom. And so now we have people that repair those drones. Computers and technology, that's our IT, our satellite communications. That's all about getting information from one point to another. We can be anywhere in the world and set up internet and telephones within 45 minutes. So our IT guys are really good at what they do. Medical and emergency, that's all of our hospital type jobs to include veterinarian, dental tech, and things like x-ray tech, pharmacy tech. If you can imagine a hospital job, we probably have it in the Army. What's cool about the medical and emergency jobs is you fall under what we call AMED, or Army Medicine. And Army Medicine is kind of special in that they have unique scholarships available like HPSP that will pay for your grad school. And so there's a lot of good opportunities available. Construction and engineering, if it can be built, these guys can build it. Carpenters, masons, plumbers, electricians, heavy equipment operators. If you are living the construction and engineering field, might be for you. Transportation and aviation is how we get personnel and supplies from one point to another. We have a railhead on every base, so we have train operators. The aviation branch, 3 different types of helicopters, and so they're air crew and mechanics for those helicopters, the air traffic controllers, things like that. The logistics planners, truck drivers. We have CDL truck drivers in the Army, things like that. So a lot of different kind of jobs that you can do. All right, so technical certifications or industry certifications. Y'all have all probably been somewhere where you've seen this piece of paper. Say you go to the pharmacy, or you go to your doctor's office, or you even go to find a good mechanic. Some places they have this piece of paper hanging on the wall behind their office desk that says that they actually took a test and they are certified and proficient to do what they do. The Army's really big on certifications, and these ones on the screen right here, these are just some of the ones that the Army has paid for me to have. Again, we're really big on certifications. We want to set you up for success when you get out of the Army. So if you're a mechanic, we're going to pay for those ASE certifications. If you're a legal professional, we'll help you pay for the bar exam. If you're an IT person like me, these are some of the certifications that you can have. My last duty station was the National Military Command Center at the Pentagon, and they sent me to be a certified ethical hacker and a computer hacking forensics investigator. You can see those certifications right there on the screen. And I haven't paid anything. The Army's paid for all of this stuff for me. We do have 2 components. We have active duty Army and we have the Army Reserves. A little bit of a difference between the two. Active duty Army, for those of y'all that want to jump right into a career, learn a trade and go to work, you want to get out of Morristown, you want to do something with your life, active duty Army is probably what you want to consider. We live on base, work on base. It's 3 years at a time. You'll move about every 3 years to different duty stations all over the world. While you're on that base, you do whatever the job is that you chose for the Army we need you to do for us. So for me, I'm an IT person. I'll go on base and I'll make sure the internet and computer stay running for the 3 years I'm there. That's what I do. And at the end of that 3 years, I'll move somewhere else. I've been to Texas, I've been to Alaska, I've been to Guam, Georgia, the Pentagon, and now here on recruiting. So it's actually pretty cool. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I get my weekends off, federal holidays off, vacation a year. It's not a bad gig. When we talk about the Army Reserves, what we usually ask people is, what is it that you want to do right out of high school? A lot of people say, I want to go to college. Okay, well, the reality is only about a third of y'all are actually going to go to college. Only about a third of those are actually even going to finish the first semester. And so while everybody says, I want to go to college, it just unfortunately doesn't pan out for a lot of people. But there are those people that are dedicated. No, this is what I'm doing. I want to go to college. And so the Army Reserves is a great option for those people because we will pay for your college. We want you to be successful, whatever you want to do. And so the Army Reserves will pay for your college using the Reserve Select GI Bill, tuition assistance, and a couple more programs we'll talk about in a minute. But it's a 1 weekend a month commitment. It's a 6-year contract. You work 1 weekend a month and a couple of weeks during the summer. And other than that, you stay at home. You don't have to go to different duty stations all over the world. You're right here in Morristown, Tennessee. We assign you to a reserve unit local, doing a job that you pick to do in that unit. And you can have that full college experience, be that, sit in classrooms and get that, live college experience. So I talked earlier about the income. This is what the federal pay chart kind of looks like for all the branches. And so down here, you come in as an E1, and you're an E1 for about 6 months. The Army's unique in that we automatically promote all the way up to E4. All you have to do is show up to work on time, be kind of okay at your job, and don't do anything stupid, and you're going to get promoted to E4 automatically. E1 to E2 is about 6 months. E3 is at your 1 year mark. E4 is automatic at your 2 year mark. So you can see in the chart that the longer you stay in and the higher pay grade you get, the more your money, more money you get. This is every month and before taxes. And so as an E1, right in the door, $16,0230 is what your base pay would be. We get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month. So split that in half. You get half on the 1st, half on the 15th. And again, this pay chart is exactly the same, all the branches. All right, I'm going to talk about a real world scenario here. Let's break it down for you. A lot of y'all, especially underclassmen, you might not appreciate fully what I'm saying here, but some of you seniors that are working, that are already paying bills, this is going to hit home for you. So a lot of you have jobs, probably $8, $9, maybe $10 an hour. So in this scenario that we built, we took a job, 18 years old, right out of high school, and we said, what if you were able to get a job making $16 an hour? Now, realistically, that's probably not going to happen, but we said, what if, you were able to find a job making $16 an hour, and you're working 160 hours a month. That's a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. Your monthly pay will be about $25.60. Everybody pays taxes, so you're looking at a little after $2,000 after taxes. But here's where adulting kind of hits, and adulting sucks sometimes. But the first thing you're going to notice is health insurance is now mandatory, and so you're going to have to find a health insurance plan. And health insurance can be anywhere from $200 to like $2,000 a month, depending on a lot of factors. But we said, okay, in this scenario, you're 18 years old, you're in good health, and you could find a job making about $2,000. You can find an insurance plan for about $200. So then you have dental insurance. That's going to run you about another $60 a month for a good dental insurance plan. All right, cool. We got the insurance stuff out of the way. Now what are we going to do? We got to have a roof over our head, right? So the average rent in Morristown, Tennessee, it's about $1,000 a month, and that goes up every year. But as of this year, the average rent here was about $1,000. That's a big chunk out of that paycheck, just keeping a roof over your head. But okay, cool. We got our insurance, we got our rent out of the way. Let's turn some lights on in our house. Your power bill is going to be about $150. My house, I have a big house, but my power bill is over $250 every month. But we said for this scenario, you're 18, you're by yourself, maybe you're responsible and you use LED lights and you turn off, stuff when you're not in the room, whatever, and you can get your power bill to be about $150. All right, cool. So then you got water. If you live in the city limits, you pay water and trash. That's another $40 and $25, as you can see there. Okay, we got our bills paid, but you got to eat now, right? So average food for a single person is about $300 a month. And that's not going to McDonald's every meal. That's going to the grocery store, being a big boy, big girl, going out, making your own food, and eating at home. About $300 a month. All right, so you got basic necessities out of the way. And out of that, fat paycheck, now you got like just a little over $200 left at the end of the month. But how'd you get to work? All right, you got a car payment, right? Car payment's about $250. Now, you're not going to be driving in a brand new car paying $250. That's going to be some old used car, and you hope it's reliable enough to get you back and forth to work. But about $250 there. All right, but with the car comes car insurance. You're 18 years old. Car insurance is expensive. All right, car insurance for 18-year-old runs about $150 a month. And then you got a cell phone. You can't keep those snap streaks up without a cell phone. So that's going to run you about another $75. And so you can see that $16 an hour job. Now you're like over $200 in the hole at the end of the month. Well, the problem is that, where'd you put gas in your car? Well, you didn't. Where'd you buy clothes? Where'd you do anything fun with your money? You sure didn't pre-order the PS5 because you can't afford it. All right. So let's go over to the Army and this E1 that joins the Army. And so this is assuming they're out of training. So they've been through their first 4 months and they got their first pay increase. They're at $17.33 now. They're going to pay taxes as well. Everybody pays taxes. But one of the benefits that you'll see in the Army is our health and dental insurance are free. We don't pay anything. Our rent, electric, water, trash, it's all free. All right, the Army pays our living expenses, so our paycheck goes in our pocket. You'll be given a meal card that entitles you to 3 meals a day, 7 days a week in a dining facility. And if if there's not a dining facility available to you, the Army's going to pay you about $370 a month to offset the cost of food. All right, so that 18-year-old that joined the Army is sitting at about $1,750, a little over $1,750 in their bank account. Well, they're going to have say they have this exact same car insurance, exact same cell phone. But what you notice, that bottom line is at the end of the month, that soldier has over $1,200 in their bank account to go blow on whatever they want to spend it on. All right. Let's break down the Army Reserves a little bit more. Some of y'all know Alexis Kincaid. She's a senior here at East. She's in the band. She's not with us at school today because she's in Knoxville, or on her way to Knoxville right now, actually getting her military ID card. So Alexis came up to me last year and said, "Hey, I want to go to law school. Can you help me with that?" Okay, sure. Yeah, well, I can help you go to law school. And so she was looking into the Army Reserves for the 1 weekend a month commitment and for us to pay for her school. But I said, hey, what if I can put you in an actual law office in Knoxville, right by UT Knoxville, where you want to go to law school at? We can train you as a paralegal in the Army. And so you already have some of those skills, and those credits transfer to your college, and that's less classes you have to take. And so that's the deal she took us up on. And so right now she's enlisted in the Army Reserves as a paralegal specialist assigned to a law office in Knoxville as a senior in high school. She's already been attending drills, and she's already getting paid as a soldier in the U.S. Army Reserves. So these figures right here that you see on the screen is some of the money that she is getting or will be getting as a U.S. Army Reserve soldier. So she's going to get the Reserve Select GI Bill that's going to pay her $384 a month for college, and that comes out to over $13,800 some change. She also qualified for the GI Bill kicker, and what that is an extra $100 a month on top of that. So she's actually making $484 a month that goes toward her school. She's also going to get 4 years at $4,000 a year of tuition assistance. And she also qualified for a student loan or payment program of up to $30,000. So basically that's a check from the Army guaranteed that says, hey, if you incur any student loans, we will pay up to $30,000. Now with the GI Bill, the kicker and tuition assistance, she should not need student loans, but in case something happens and she does incur student loans, there's a check for $30,000 to help pay that off. So she's sitting at over $63,000 in college benefits. But while she's in basic training, she's going to be paid as an active duty soldier. And so she's going to make almost $5,000 in basic training, almost $4,000 when she's in AIT, or Advanced Individual Training, learning how to do her job. And she also got a $7,000 sign-on bonus that will be paid out as soon as she completes training. That's another $16,500 and some odd dollars that she's going to have. Add to that, she's getting paid drill pay for the 2 days a month she goes to drill. And so that's over the 6-year contract, over $3,000. And so if you add all this stuff up, she's sitting at over $80,000 in benefits from the U.S. Army Reserve. All right, diversity is one of my favorite things to talk about in the Army. We're all different. We all come from different walks of life. But once you put this uniform on, none of that matters. You look at to the person to your left and to your right, that's your brother and sister in arms, and you'll do anything for them. Last year, we hired more women than we have in the last 15 years. Last year, we hired more minorities than we ever have. And I think it's really cool being able to be stationed all over the world, get to experience different cultures, different ideas, and it's a learning and growing experience wherever you go. These pictures right here are some of the places that I've personally been, snorkeling in Guam, the Northern Lights in Alaska. The guy saluting right there, that's Toby Keith. He came to Germany and did a private concert for us. The castle is the Blarney Castle in Ireland, and the picture on the right is a palace in Würzburg, Germany called the Residence. It's been an amazing experience to be able to go and actually see all that stuff firsthand. Some more pictures from my experiences in the Army. Another picture of the Northern Lights up here. This is Robin Williams. He actually came to Iraq to see us. I feel very blessed and fortunate to have been able to meet him. This right here was an average winter day in Fairbanks, Alaska. This is, we got Spurs tickets in San Antonio. My son took him to his very first basketball game. He got Ginobili's autographs. So that was really cool. This is installing a satellite antenna to pull internet into a building in Tikrit, Iraq. Playing with the wildlife in Guam. So I've had a lot of fun in my career. We do have a lot of excitement, a lot of challenge, adventure, recreation type stuff that we have available. There are some thrill seekers out there. And so if that's you, we have positions available. Doesn't matter what your job is in the Army. If you want to go jump out of airplanes, we'll pay you an extra $150 to be airborne qualified. We'll send you to school to learn how to rappel out of helicopters. Or to we can send you to Ranger School or Special Forces School, Sniper School, all that kind of stuff. And all of those jobs are open to anybody in the Army. If you have a talent or say sports are your thing, we have a world-class athlete program. We don't want you to have to jeopardize what you love because you decided to serve. And so say you're a soccer player. I had a lieutenant in my unit in Germany. Soccer was her thing. She loved soccer. So she tried out for the All-Army soccer team, and she actually made the team. And from that point on in her career, she was a paid professional athlete for the United States Army playing soccer for a living. We have a Gold Glove boxing team. We have CrossFit teams, weightlifting teams, shooting teams, all kinds of things like that to help showcase some of your talents. This picture in the middle was the Winter Olympics in Korea a couple of years ago. Some of you might not know, but most of the people on the U.S. Olympic team are soldiers in the United States Army. So that's pretty cool. Our bases are set up like cities, like I said earlier. We have a lot of facilities available to you, shooting ranges, campsites, gyms, swimming pools, golf courses, automotive centers. You can pay like $5 and rent a bay for the day and work on your car with a lift in a bay and everything. We have a morale, welfare, recreation office on every base where you can go rent a camper or a boat for the weekend. You can go get discount tickets to Disney World or to movie theaters or to whatever. So that's pretty cool too. All right, it's about time for me to end this. I'm going to open it up for questions now. Is there anything that y'all might want to know? Anything that you're wondering about or curious about? I have the chat open now, so if you have a question for me, just go ahead and type it in there. I'll try to answer it. I'll tell you while I'm waiting on somebody to ask if y'all have any questions, some stories about when I was in Germany. So being around the world is a little different, and I told you before, the diversity is pretty cool. But when you go on vacation somewhere, you're there for a couple of days, maybe a week or whatever, and then you go back to wherever you came from, where you go back home. In the Army, when we're stationed somewhere, we're there 3 years at a time. And so some of my experiences in Germany, they were actually pretty cool. I learned that Germans are very blunt people. And they're not necessarily rude. It's just a different culture from us. They actually look at us Americans and they think we lie a lot, because say you're passing somebody in the hallway and you ask somebody, how's your day going, or how are you, and somebody says, oh, I'm good. And you just keep walking, because I'm good is what you're supposed to say. You don't want to actually tell them that your morning was horrible, or you're in a bad mood or whatever. But it's just the opposite in Germany. If you ask somebody how they're doing, you're going to pull up a chair and have a conversation. They believe in talking, getting things out there. If they think you look stupid, they're going to tell you look stupid. They don't sugarcoat anything, and I thought that was pretty cool. The highway systems are way different. Their highways are designed for efficiency. They don't use stop signs and traffic lights and everything. Once you get on the highway, it's pedal to the floor until you pull into a parking spot somewhere. So that's pretty cool. Driving a Porsche 200 miles an hour down the Autobahn was a fun experience. And it's really fun till you come back to the U.S. and you're driving down the highway and you're doing about 80 and somebody pulls out in front of you doing 30. But I like being in Germany a lot, getting to go tour the castles and everything. They had sidewalks that were older than our country is. I'm a history buff, so I really enjoyed that. Being in Guam was cool too. The Chamorro Islanders on Guam, they're some of the nicest people that I've ever met in my life. It was a little weird being around people that are, honestly that nice. One of the stories I like to tell is I was driving down the road one day in Guam, and this guy flagged me down on the side of the road, and I was driving a van, had a bunch of soldiers in the van. And, in America, somebody flags you down, you think that, they need help, you'll go and you offer to help. But in Guam, it's different. So we stopped, rolled down the window, hey, can I help you? He goes, yeah, we're having a cookout, come eat. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. No thanks. I think we're good. And we started to roll out the window. And he goes, no, you don't understand. You're on the island. You're family. Come eat. And that's the way they treated everybody there. It was really cool. And so with that understanding, we went to the cookout. And we had a good time. They fed us pretty well while we were there. But I've enjoyed getting to have those kind of experiences all over the world. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video now.